Hello friends. Hello University Heights. I want to thank you for joining me. You are here because you want to know how I made the virtual bands from our Music Monday concert. If I have done this correctly, there should be a link here, I think, to the O Canada video, and maybe over here might be somewhat on my head to a little help with my friends, or a little help from my friends video if you want to see what I'm talking about. I am going to show you what I did to make those videos. I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible. I've never done a tutorial video like this, so bear with me. I'm not going to pretend that what I have done here is easy. But if you've been following along with kind of the messages that I've been trying to get across with our read alouds, you can do this. But it will be hard. So, thank you for coming along, joining me on this learning journey. The very first thing that you need to do is have a plan. And I'm setting a bad example because I don't really have a plan for today's video. But you do want to have an idea of what you want to do, what the end project, what's the big idea, what do you expect at the end. So if you're following along with me step by step, we're going to have an introduction video. We're going to snap our fingers and land in a new spot. We are going to have our virtual band, which is going to be yourself, so me, and I'm going to be playing with somebody else. What you should be planning right now is that somebody else going to be you, because you can do a virtual band with you. If you saw the opening tutorial, you saw me with Mr. Reed doing our opening video. You can easily do that, or if you have a friend who's just as excited to do this as you can do this together with a friend. Okay, so we're going to snap our fingers, we're going to get together with our friends, and then we are going to play a song. Okay, what today's tutorial is just the audio portion. It's the song. Okay, we want our song to be as nice sounding as we can make it, so that's what we're going to work on. The song that I'm going to be playing is Don't Worry, Be Happy. You don't have to use that song if you don't want to. If you've got a plan and you have a song in mind, then do it, man. You can use that song for sure. Otherwise, the music for Don't Worry, Be Happy is in the Google Classroom. You can grab that. I hope you've been practicing. I had a few people reach out to me about how do I do this on the piano. If I'm doing piano or another instrument, you can just play those root chords. If you want to search for a melody line on the internet, you can do that. Or if you want me to send you a melody line, I'll let you do that. But I told you that I was going to be playing on the ukulele. I might have my bandmate join me on a guitar. We'll see how that goes. So I'm in my basement. I have kind of a makeshift studio down here. You might hear my kids. They're doing some schoolwork upstairs, bouncing around. They're doing their own personal workouts. They are pretty athletic kids, and they're doing their workouts kind of behind me in a separate room, but there's no door separating us. So if you hear them, I'm sorry. Get over it. Let's take a peek at the equipment that I am using. But right here is my vocal mic. To the side here is the mic that's going to be picking up my guitar. And I've got the cables from these mics running into this machine right here. This machine it's a PreSonus interface. I'll leave a link in the description on how you could purchase this if you want to get one. But this is what takes my audio signal and lets me work with it in my computer. So here's a USB cord going into my computer. If you don't have microphones like that, which you probably don't, if you don't have an interface, which you probably don't, I told you that you could use memos, voice memos. So this is an iPhone, could be an iPod Touch, and right here is voice memos. The microphone on your iPod or iPhone is a really good microphone, and you can use that to record. I'll show you how to do that as well. That's the microphone that I would have expected most of the staff to have used for their videos. I have Apple stuff. I know that not everybody does. If you've got an Android phone, there's probably a microphone on there as well, and it's probably decent enough as well to do what it is we're trying to do. So if you don't have mics like you see behind me right here, don't worry about it, okay? You saw Mr. Allward. Mr. Allward, he didn't have, I think he just used the microphone off his computer. So you could do that too. Now you got to keep in mind, to do what it is we're going to do, you need two devices for sure. All right. So if that be a computer and an iPod, or an iPad and an iPod, that is fine. You just need to make sure you have two devices. So let's get things set up here. I told you that the software that I'm using is GarageBand. I have an Apple computer, so I'm using GarageBand. If you don't have an Apple computer, you can use a program called Audacity. If you go to last week's tutorial, I have a link on how to download that. It's a free download. Just make sure you get permission from your parents if you're going to be using that. Let's open up GarageBand now, actually. All right, so here's GarageBand. I am going to create an empty project, and this is what opens up. Now, if you're plugged into an interface like I am, you should see my instrument is connected with Studio 24C. That's the interface. I'm going to make sure that it's the microphone, and I'm going to tell it that it's plugged in. So there's two inputs. I have two microphones. So one microphone is plugged into input 1, and the other is into input 2. So I'm going to be singing into input 1, so I'm going to create that. And I'm going to double click audio. I'm going to write vocal so that I can remember which mic is which. And you can see here that it's already picking up a signal, because when I talk, this green bar is moving. I'm going to double click, or two-finger click, I don't know what you call it on a Mac, and I'm going to make a guy here with the mic just so that I can remember which is which. And I also have my ukulele, so I'm going to push this plus button. My ukulele is going to be playing into input number 2. Okay, and when I create that, it says audio 2. I'm going to change that to uke. And if I two-finger touch this guy and I find guitar, I don't know if there is a ukulele on here or not. Let's see here, strings. No. Hit guitar, and I'll just push guitar. Okay, so there are my two tracks. You can see that that mic is picking up as well. Like I said, if you don't have a microphone, you don't have an interface like I have, that's fine. We're going to open up voice memos. We'll do that in just a sec. But if you do, it's nice to use that because we can record directly into GarageBand, and it just skips a whole step for us here. So I've got my iPhone here. You could use your iPhone or your whatever device you have, and we're going to go into voice memos. So I'm going to click on that, and here's what opens up. So now we should be ready to record. Okay, the first thing we're going to record is called a scratch track. A scratch track is, well, scratch means because eventually we're going to scratch it. We're going to get rid of it. We're actually not going to be using it in our final video, but what it does is it gives us and it gives our friend, whoever's going to be joining us, something to follow along to. So when we did the help for my friends video, Mr. Tomasi played on the piano, simple, very simple piece, and he sent that to myself. He sent it to Mr. Allward so that we could record our parts and then send it back to him. For O Canada, we had somebody play the piano. We sent that out to all of the teachers, and then they had that to play along with. And it's really important that we have this scratch track to play to so that we're all playing the same thing at the same time in the same key. All right? So what we should do next is just make sure we have a plan in our head on how this song is going to be played. So I'm going to open up the Don't Worry, Be Happy music, and we'll just do a dry run. Before playing it, we'll just do a dry run in our head so we know exactly what to do. Okay? If you have yours, if you're able to print it off, that's good. If you're going to look at it on the computer, that's okay. But let's look at. So here's our Don't Worry, Be Happy music. This is the, I guess, ukulele version, because I have the chords over here. But like I said, you can just play these chords on the piano. You could play these notes, a C, a D, and F, on your instrument if you brought that home from school. Or if you really want, you can look up the melody line online. If you can't find that, just send me an email and I'll send you a melody line. Okay, so here's what our song's going to do. If you don't know the song, you can probably search for it on YouTube and listen to it a few times. But our introduction, we're going to go through this chord progression. We're going to play a C, a D minor, an F, and a C. And we're going to be singing. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay? Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, that's one time. Then we're going to do it twice. So we'll do it again. C, 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 D minor, F, F, C. Okay? After that, we're going to go into the verse. Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Be happy. Okay? And that just repeats itself. And then our chorus is very similar to what we did in our introduction. Ooh, 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 don't worry. Ooh, be happy. Ooh, ooh. We're going to do that 2 times. And then our verse 2, okay, which is similar to verse 1. We're just singing different words. When we're done verse 2, I didn't write it on this page, but we'll go back to the chorus. We'll do the chorus 2 times, and that's how we'll end the song. Okay, so we've got the plan in our head. If you're doing a different song, you can get that plan in your head. Okay? Next step we want to do is make sure our instrument is tuned. If you have a tuner, I hope that you do, tune using your tuner. GarageBand has a built-in tuner, and that's what I am going to use. So let's take a peek at the tuner in GarageBand. Way over here on the right is my tuner. Okay? Let's tune this up. Okay, so I want this to turn to a nice green color for my G note. This is the top string on the ukulele. If the needle is to the left of the 0, it means I gotta make this string a little bit tighter. If it's on the right, I have to make it a little bit loose. Okay, so that one looked pretty good. Let's just check one more time. Okay, it's green. next one. That's pretty good. That was string. And then the next one. Good. And my last string. That's pretty good. And we'll just double check all of them. Not too bad. This is a step you want to make sure you use every single time. Okay? Every time you're going to record, double check the tuning. Okay? You might not see me do that, but I assure you that every single time before I record, I'm going to check my tuning. Okay? Our next step is, let's do the recording. Okay? So if you've got your phone, you want to push voice memos. It should already be open if you're following along. You're going to push that red button. You're going to start recording. Now, Ms. Austin's probably taught you the importance of having a count in to make sure that we're all starting at the exact same time, and we want to make sure we're all playing at the same tempo. Okay? So on GarageBand, there's an item on here called a metronome. Okay? And I'm going to click on that. We want to make sure this button here is purple in GarageBand. That's our metronome. That's going to help us count in. This is the count in on GarageBand. I'm not going to actually use that. I'm going to use my voice instead. So let's turn that off. Okay. And if I push the record button right now, you can hear that tick, 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 tick. Okay. That is our metronome. That's how fast we're going to do it. Now here it says tempo. That's a little bit faster than what I want to play it at. I want to set my tempo for this song to 100. So it's going to be a little bit slower now if you're listen. A little bit slower, okay? Now we want to make sure our friend or our whoever we're playing with knows exactly when to start. So when this starts, I'm going to count 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we want to make sure that that is on our recording, because when we send it out, if the music just starts right away, our friend's not going to be ready to play. Okay? So let's get rid of that. I'm going to put, now this is an important step now too, I'm going to put some headphones on, because I want to make sure that that click, click, click is not getting picked up by my microphone. Okay? So when I put my headphones on, I'm going to hear that click, click, click in my ears, but the microphone is not going to pick that up. Okay? One last thing here before we record. If you are using microphones to record, and you have them going into your computer, and there's more than one. So I have 2 microphones here, but you can see right now only the ukulele mic is picking up. And if I click on vocal, now the vocal mic is picking up, but not the ukulele mic. We want to make sure we've got both of those going at the same time. So if I use 2 fingers to click and push configure track header, and then I push this record enable, I can see it's only recording the ukulele right now. So I want to push that button so it's red. I want to push vocal so it's red. Now you can see that I am recording both of those microphones at the same time. If you're using your phone, you don't have to worry about this step. So now I think we're ready to record for real this time. I'm going to record on my phone using voice memos, which is probably what you're doing. So I'm going to push record now. And I'm going to record on my microphones. So I'm going to go into GarageBand and push record there. And if you're doing this properly, you should hear the clicks in your headphones. And I'm going to pull up the music. Make it full screen. And I think we're ready to go. Are you ready to do this with me? Let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So grab your phone, and I'm going to click on the recording that I did with my phone, and I'm going to send it to my computer. If you have a Mac, you should be able to just send that over using AirDrop. And if you don't have a Mac, I'm not sure what you do, if you plug it in with a USB, or you can send yourself an email, I guess. But share that with your computer so that we can put it into our audio editor, whether that is GarageBand or... Here is the recording I did with my phone. I'm just going to drag that into GarageBand, and I'm pretty sure you can do the same thing with Audacity. Okay, and you can see I've got all of the recordings that I've done. I have the 2 blue ones are the ones that I did directly into GarageBand, and the orange one here is the one that I did with my phone. If I push these headphones, that's going to, when I push play, I'm only going to hear the track that has the headphones pushed. So I'm not going to hear these when I play them back. So let's just click play to see what we have here. And you'll notice when I push play, and I'm going to, you can hear that click, click, click. Okay, we shouldn't hear that because we were using our headphones, right? So if I push this orange or that purple button of the metronome, it will go away. So we'll go back to the start. Now when I push play, and I'm going to record on my, we don't hear that click anymore. Okay, now we don't want to hear all of that talking at the beginning. We just want to hear that count in. So I'm going to move up to here, which I think is where the counting was. Full screen. No, not quite. So I'm listening for the 1, 2. Are you ready to do this with me? Let's go. 1. There we go. So there's that 1. I can see it was this mark right here. So I'm going to slide it back just a bit. Push play just to make sure that's the right spot. 1. It was. Okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to split. So when I send this to my friend, they don't need to hear all of that talking that was at the start. Okay. So I'm going to 2 fingers. I'm going to split at playhead. Then I'm going to erase all that talking from the beginning. Okay? Then I'm just going to move or slide this all the way to the start. Okay? 1. All right, so I got rid of all of that talking that was at the beginning. Okay? Let's do the same with my vocal and my ukulele. And I'm going to listen to both of these at the same time because when I move them, I want to make sure I split and I move them together at the same spot. Okay. There we go. There's the 1. And I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger, stretching that out. Okay, I can see right here where I talked. That's probably where I said 1. So I push play. That's where I said 1. Okay. And I'm going to right click, split, right click on this one, split. Let's erase and erase. Let's highlight both of these and slide them to the start. Okay. Oops. There we go. All right. Let's hear how that sounds. So this is recording directly in 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, doesn't sound too bad. Nice and clear. Let's just focus in on the other scratch track, which you probably were using. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to save this file. Now, if I'm going to actually erase this scratch track, because I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use the ones that I recorded with microphones because they sound a little bit nicer. Okay. To save this track, we want to go up here to Share. We want to export song to disk. And we want to give it a name. Okay. I'm going to call this Don't Worry Scratch. Okay, and we got to choose a spot to save it. We can save it in GarageBand, that's fine. And down here, we want to choose what type of file. Okay, MP3 is probably the best option for you guys at home. And then we push export, and we're done. And that's it. We have our scratch track ready to go, and everything that we do from this point onward is going to be based on that scratch track recording. So you can now get ready for our part 2. You can get ready for that by, if you're doing the band all by yourself, you can just keep on going because you're ready to go. If you're doing this with a friend, you can send this along to them, send that file that you just made, that scratch track, to them so that they're ready for our next tutorial. If you want, you can send it to me. If you want me to be in your band, send it along to me and I'll play along with you. And what I'll also do is I'll include my scratch track in Google Classroom. If you want to be part of my band, you can get my scratch track to do your recording for part 2. Okay? I'll give you a few days to work on this, and then you can check in with me in a few days for our next step. Thanks for joining me.